Welcome back, loves. I know it's been a while. Thank you for your patience, but I'm back. I'm here today. And I wanted to record this, to be honest with you, about 2 to 3 weeks ago. And I thought I'm going to stay on schedule, and it just didn't happen. So here I am now. My goal was to get this episode to you before the holidays. So that's my promise to you. It will be posted before Thanksgiving because we're now a few days into that week. Today, we're talking about the trauma informed holiday. And just really, I want to give you a mental preparation and self care checklist. That's the goal for today. I tend to have an increase in clientele in November and December. And that's a time when most therapists typically see a decrease in sessions. And it's so interesting when it happens, and I think really it's because I've spent at least the last 5 years of my career warning clients of what could happen when it comes to grief and loss, when it comes to past trauma, and really helping them understand the signals that they could have some activations or triggers in the case of trauma, and really getting to be witness to those activations and triggers when people would meet with me. And so I started having clients actually prepare for the holidays with me months before. We had already done the work of identifying what things really make the holidays hard for them. And I do believe that that deep work that I've done with people really help people understand, you know what? It's not bad for me to schedule a therapy session closer to the holidays or, have more support during the holidays. And when I say that, I'm really referring to people who are in maintenance mode in my practice because I have a lot of people that I meet with a few times a year. Some people once a quarter, some people once a month. And some of those people who maybe I see twice in a year, they come back around the holidays. So it's always an interesting time in the therapy world for me. And what I want you to leave this episode with today is at least 6 things you can do to prepare. Now, the sixth one is the bonus one, and it's more of a surprise for you. And it's kind of a funny one. So I'm going to leave that one until the end. And of course, as I always do, I'm going to sprinkle in some humor for you here. So you can let me know what you think about this episode in the comments. So when we think about preparing for the holidays, I want to give you some scenarios. You may be a person who lost a child around the holidays. You may be a person who lost a parent or a really close family member or friend. You may be a person who has a history, maybe 2 years in a row, you lost a job right before the holidays, 2, 3 years in a row. And you're thinking, geez, this is just my cycle. This is just what happens after a few years. I just start losing jobs around the holidays. Or maybe you have had some form of past trauma and you have to be around family members, or you anticipate being around family members, and maybe there's someone that you can anticipate being around that harmed you when you were a child or harmed you when you were a young adult. And maybe you told someone, maybe you didn't. The case I often hear of is either people didn't tell and they're struggling through that on their own, or they did tell someone and no one did anything about it. Or if someone did something about it, they leaned into, well, you just need to forgive this person, or this person has changed. And that is not always the case. And I think even if the person has changed, you have every right to say, I don't want to be around that person. Every right. Okay. So just giving you a few ideas, and maybe it's not centered around grief or trauma. Maybe it's a relationship with a family member that you have never liked. Maybe there's just people you don't get along with, or you know what? This episode is even for you. If you say, Marquita, it's none of that. It's more so, I don't connect with my family. We are not like that, but everyone gets that invite for the holidays one time a year, and we all show up awkwardly. And it's just uncomfortable because we all know we're not close. So what are we doing? So as you can tell, it can be on either end of the extreme there. All right, so let's talk about the first thing, which is I want to encourage you to pre-designate your safe space. Okay. Before the event, you can identify a safe haven that you can retreat to. You got to make a plan for this. Okay. So I've worked with people on, if they are going to their family home and they still have a bedroom there, or there's a guest room, or maybe there's a space in the backyard that you really like. Maybe you could sit in your car. When I'm hanging around family, and I'm going to preface this with, I love my family. And when I go home to Louisiana, which is where I'm from, I see a lot of family members. And I'm not used to it because ever since I moved away from home, I haven't been around a lot of people. I certainly haven't been around a lot of family members all at one time. So for the holidays, I have to manage my own anxiety. I have to manage my ambivert personality because sometimes I'm really all in it and want to be there. And other times I'm ready to pull away because I'm overstimulated because so many people are talking, people are eating, people are coming and going. People I haven't seen in years are coming. So then there's that awkwardness, right? And some people are being invited that I've never met before. And there's that. And then people are bringing their pets and I don't know how to handle their pets, you know? As you can tell, I need these tips too, okay? So, yeah, it just gets to this point where you have to know what your safe space is. So usually when my husband and I and our kids, when we go home to my hometown in Louisiana, we get a rental car. And what I do is I leave. Now, it's a very easy thing for me to do to leave because my family is vegetarian and all of my Louisiana family, they're not. They're meat eaters. They are definitely carnivores, okay? They're eating the meat and the seafood. So there is very rarely something that myself, my husband, and my kids can eat. So that's always a reason for me to leave. I need to go run to any store that's open and grab such and such. If we've run out of something or if I forgot something at my parents' home, I can go back and get that. It's a nice break that's not planned, but I can rely on it. So pre-designate your safe space. It can be in a car, like what it often is for me when I'm home or when I'm around a lot of people. And this can be something that's predictable for you. It's private. It's a non-confrontational space, where people won't follow you or question you immediately about you leaving. You don't have to just make an announcement. You can just leave. You can just act like you walk into the bathroom and go lay in a bed. Or you can just, oh, I'm going outside to get some fresh air. Now, people might follow you, so you have to be a little strategic about that part. Or you can just choose my option, which is to hop in your rental car if you have one and go. Go somewhere. Just take a drive. Even if there is nothing open, just take a drive. I guarantee you the Walgreens and the CVS's are going to be open on the holidays. And even now, some of the coffee shops stay open for, maybe like half the day, half their typical shift to make sure all the coffee and espresso lovers have somewhere to go. So yeah, you could escape to a coffee shop too. I am known to do that. All right. So the second thing is establish a secret signal. Now, if you're like me, you can bring your partner, and you can have a secret signal, or you can send each other a quick text and say, "Hey, I'm ready to go," or "I need space." If you have kids, look, that is always your secret signal. Once they start acting out or having a moment or they seem overstimulated, which can happen with my kids, there's one of them that gets overstimulated and the other kiddo just is over it. That the other kid is not overstimulated. It's just, "Mommy, when are we leaving? Daddy, I'm ready to go," and that's a perfect it's secret signal, right? Not so secret because they may say it out loud. You know how kids are, but typically they say it more discreetly. And that's our out. Time to go take a break. I may come back later by myself when I have rejuvenated and replenished my energy, and I may not. And so at this point, people kind of know our MO. There's that. So if you are attending with a trusted partner or close family member, just create some sort of nonverbal signal text that you can, send. "I need to leave now. No questions asked." It can be as simple as that. Now, I'll tell you what, when my sister and I were younger, we had this little secret code with my mom, and it was OG. Now, OG backwards is go, or I guess go backwards is OG. So we would secretly go up to her and just whisper, "OG, OG." And no one knew what we were talking about. And she would kind of giggle because my mom knew, okay, this is our signal. And she would plan her exit. And then we would leave. And it was beautiful now that I look back at it because one, we had a mother who understood, okay, you're bringing us to all these people's homes on the holidays and we're happy to go with you because we don't want to be home and bored. And we also don't want to be in everybody's house for a long time. So you can steal that. Use OG, okay? Don't tell my mama though, y'all. Don't tell her I told you our secret. Okay, so the third thing is you can set a 15-minute reset rule. So this is where you schedule a brief, non-negotiable break during the day. Even if you feel fine, that's the key word. And if you've listened to this podcast long enough, when I talk about anxiety, I talk about practicing the CBT, the mindfulness, the deep breathing skills, even when you don't have anxiety, because you're training your brain and your body to know what to do. Okay. So these breaks are non-negotiable. You could use a timer. Sometimes I set a timer if I have already said we're going to be leaving soon, I will set a timer. I do that at the park. And in fact, I did that at the park tonight. My kids wanted to go to the park. And we live in Maine now, so around 3:30 to 4 p.m., it starts to get dark. So by the time I got back from my shoe shopping ordeal, I had promised them I would take them to the park. So I took them, I put the flashlight on my phone, and I said, "You have 20 minutes because it is 40 degrees," and I even played tag with them. And I think they did not get their full 20 minutes because I played tag with them because at 18 minutes, I tapped out, y'all. I was freezing. I was out of breath from running around the park in the dark with a flashlight on my phone. So I said, "It's been 18 minutes. Time is up. By the time we get to the car, it will be 20 minutes. Let's go." OG. So, anyways, use a timer. There's nothing wrong with that. 9 times out of 10, no one's paying attention to your phone at these get togethers. So you're good, okay? And then during that 10 to 15-minute window, you could consider focusing on a calming sensory activity. Maybe you have a meditation app. Maybe you just go into the guest room and lay on the floor and just listen to the silence, or listen to, it might not be silent in someone's home, right? Listen to the fan spinning. Just try to pick something to focus on in the room. Or maybe you just read a book during that 15 minutes. Or maybe you just go outside and you just breathe fresh air. It doesn't matter what you do. This is just something that you can do to try to ground yourself, because when you go from your day to day to being around a lot of people, family members or not, it can feel like a lot. So give yourself some grace there, have that 15-minute reset rule. All right. The fourth thing is to use routine tasks as an excuse. Now, this kind of ties in with something I already said, but if you really need that break, what's an acceptable absence? Is it, I need to go pick up more food? When I go home to Louisiana, when I tell you people love on our family, there's someone that's made a cake over here. My mom has purchased pies and cakes from this person. My aunt cooks something. My mom and dad cook something. My uncle cooks. So everybody's like transporting food back and forth. And it's beautiful to see. And it's not just my family. Again, it's people outside of our family who have made special desserts that they know people love. We have a family member that makes cakes when my sister and I come home, and we enjoy them. Okay. So these tasks can be an excuse. I got to go pick up the cake from so and so's house. I have to stop at Walgreens to get that gift card because I forgot to get a gift. I, need to go to the grocery store. Oh, we're running out of butter. I'll be the one to go get that. It's a running joke in my family that when I'm home and my mom will say, "Oh, I need this ingredient, or I need something from the store." And I'll say, I'll go, because I know I'm going to leave my kids at home. My mom's there, my aunt might be there. My husband is typically passed out because we don't get support in our parenting because we don't live near family. So when we're home, it's a time for us to like really lean into that support. So I will go, I will raise my hand. So you can either have these tasks already scheduled out, or you can just use a routine task as an excuse. Okay. You can even say, "You know what? I need to go call my friend or call this person. I told this person I would check in and wish them a happy holiday. So I'm going to go do that." You can do that in the car. You can do that in the guest room. You can take a drive and do that. You get where I'm going with this? You can take a short walk. "Oh, I just need some fresh air. Just need some fresh air. That's all." And typically, when you're cool about it and you're relaxed about it, people aren't going to say, "Oh, is this too much for you? Are you overwhelmed?" Because you're just being so slick with it, hopefully. So, yeah, these excuses are often easier than stating I'm overwhelmed. You can be discreet with this. You don't have to say I'm overwhelmed. You don't have to say I'm overstimulated. You've just scheduled a routine task and you're using it as an excuse. Two more. Hope y'all are hanging in there. Okay, so the fifth one, this one's called bookending the day. And some of these I came up with my own, and some of these I just kind of looked online for some ideas for you all. But bookending the day is where you discuss the importance of scheduling solitude before and after the holiday. So before the event, you dedicate some time for quiet preparation, and that might be journaling, meditating, gentle stretching. Maybe you do yoga. You're starting to regulate yourself. And then after the event, you plan a decompression activity that does not involve any social interaction. Okay. This could be a quiet bath, reading, listening to music. Could again be meditation. It could be what I do, which is, and this is not the best habit. So maybe take it with a grain of salt. But when I have had a lot of interaction with people, the way that I bookend my day is to scroll through social media. Now, there is one social media app that I recently had to remove from my phone because it is too addictive. The others, though, they're not so much addictive. They really help me kind of tap out. So if that's your thing and you can do it safely, maybe do a little scrolling, because you never know what trend's going to be happening, and there may be something that makes you laugh. And I love that about one social media app. I won't say what it is, but there's always some sort of funny trend going on or some video that went viral and people are making fun of it. And it just, the whole house can hear me laughing, which has happened recently. So, either way, when you're bookending your day, you're trying to ensure that you have a healthy transition back into your personal space. So, again, you're doing something, scheduling your solitude before you go and have to do all of this engagement. And then afterwards, you're doing something healthy to decompress. And I say healthy. So I think social media can be healthy for people, especially when it puts a smile on your face. It's the addictive components that we have to work on. And I want to preface this with when I say addictive components, I'm referring to all the articles that refer to social media as addictive. There is not currently a diagnosis in the DSM-5. So I just wanted to clarify that just in case anyone's wondering and thinks, oh, maybe they have a diagnosis now. Nope. All right. So the sixth one, I hope you're ready. It's simple. Don't go. Tell them you're not going. Okay. Why did I leave this one last? Because I think it is so important that you honor your need to not be around people if you don't want to be around people. To not be around people you don't feel safe with, you don't feel comfortable with, to respect your right to not be around people who have harmed you in some way in the past, mentally, emotionally, physically, sexually, spiritually, financially. If someone has harmed you in any kind of way, you have every right to say, if that person is invited, I'm not attending. I will not be there. Okay. So I wanted to throw this one in there too, because it's the more serious one, because a lot of people feel pressure to attend these events because maybe one of your parents or one of your siblings said, well, you got to be there. It's the only time we're all going to be together, right? You get a lot of pressure during the holidays, or, this is your chance to forgive so and so for what they did. Whether or not you forgive, I'm not concerned with that, honestly. And that says a lot coming from a Christian woman, okay? Because I know that in Christianity, we are called to forgive. I will say that some of the most cathartic moments I have had with clients on the topic of forgiveness is me encouraging them to take forgiveness off the table. This may be helpful to someone because there was so much pressure on, I need to forgive this person, either because my family and friends are asking me to, because they think that will release me, or I'm a Christian, so I just have to. And what I tell people is, let's do the work to heal your heart. Let's do the work to make sure your boundaries are secure. Let's do the work to make sure you feel safe in your body again. Let's do the work to make sure you feel secure and healthy mentally, emotionally, physically. Let's do the work to calm your nervous system. Let's do the work to help you feel grounded. And typically, when people have done all of that work, when they have prioritized their need to be angry, their need to receive therapeutic support, their need to vent about it, their need to say, you know what, yes, I am going to testify about this and make sure this person goes to jail for the rest of their lives, their need to get what they deserve from the justice system, then forgiveness naturally comes. And I've seen that throughout the years. So when I see someone struggling with forgiveness and trying to force it, that's where I go. And I want to give you that too as a gem in case it's helpful. You don't have to first focus on forgiveness. If focusing on forgiveness first, if focusing on prioritizing being at this event because other people want it, if that harms you in any way, if you have a lot of resistance to that, you don't have to focus on it. And it doesn't mean that you don't care about it. It doesn't mean you won't circle back to forgiveness. You might eventually get there. It just means you're putting it to the side in your brain so that you can really focus on self regulation and heart healing. Okay. So let me know if that's helpful for you. Let me know which one of these tips was helpful for you out of the six. And maybe I shared something that wasn't categorized as a tip, but you saw it as one, or you felt like that's something that's going to be helpful for me. I really want you to have a happy and safe holiday season. Want you to feel safe in your body. I want your mind to feel calm and safe. And I hope that today I have equipped you with some tools that you can use. That's it for today. I look forward to our next episode, and I'm going to do my best to be better about this. I promise. All right, y'all. Happy holidays. The Anxiety and Free podcast is sponsored by Find My Therapist, connecting you with therapists at findmytherapist.us. If you found today's episode helpful, please share it with someone who might need it. Tune in next week for more conversations on navigating mental health and finding your freedom.